The head honcho of Walt Disney World Resort, leaving, retiring. He's out the door now that Josh D'Amaro is in charge. And who is charging on end to take over and maybe fix things again? None other than the man behind the cruise lines at Disney. Today we'll tell you why this may have more to do with getting rid of the rivers of America and a guy who knows a little bit about boats coming in to stop the sinking and refloat Walt Disney World. It's a great day. It's a groovy day, folks. Thank you for coming our way. TPP, where all the news should be fun. And we're never done reporting on the theme parks. Click that like button. And thank you, folks. This channel is growing and growing leaps and bounds. And it's all because of you. You're appreciated. You're seen right here on TPP. And ladies and gentlemen, there has been a change announced from the Walt Disney Company. It says Disney Experiences announces senior leadership changes. This straight from the mouse. Not even an author, just experiences, eh? Disney Experiences chairman Thomas Maslam today announced a series of senior leadership appointments to guide teams around the world through a period of transformative growth. Joe Schott has been appointed as the president of the Walt Disney World Resort. Natasha Rafalski is appointed president Disney Signature Experiences. And Christoph Murphy is promoted to president of Disneyland Paris. Disney Experiences, it says, is in the midst of unprecedented expansion with more projects underway across our global portfolio than in any other moment in our history. These appointments reflect the depth of leadership, talent driving Disney Experiences. Joe, Natasha, and Christoph have a deep appreciation of the guest experience, possess extensive financial and operational expertise, and a proven ability to deliver at scale. I have complete confidence in each of them to build on the remarkable momentum underway across these businesses to write the next chapter of Disney's story. Now, the one that we're focused on here is Joe Schott, president of Walt Disney World. Joe is appointed president, succeeding Jeff Vail, who is retiring after a distinguished 36-year career with the company. Now, Joe is coming in, and he's been the head of Disney Cruise Lines. That's what you need to know about him, and this is right here. Started his illustrious career as a Jungle Cruise skipper, made his way up to the head of the cruise line, but now he will be in charge of Walt Disney World. But what's amazing about this is that Mr. Vail is leaving after all these decisions for Walt Disney World came down about destroying the rivers of America and changing Splash Mountain and destroying Muppet Vision and so much stuff. And Andy, I'd like to go to you first on this one. It's interesting to me that maybe these woke decisions, even if they were passed down for Bob Iger, they had the unfortunate effect, at least from the perspective of the guy who was in charge, of maybe being what hoisted him away from his company, and now he's being replaced. They're calling it a retirement, but I gotta say, I think the destruction of so much of the legendary stuff people loved might have been the end and might have been why they said, we got to get the cruise line guy in. Andy, what are your thoughts on Disney changing leadership after getting rid of so much that people wanted to stay forever?
I think the news has really come out about how badly so many things are going for them. Got the theme park competition with Epic that they've come out and admitted to. We know park attendance is down. We clearly know all the problems they're having in the movie side of things. The only thing they probably have going for them is the cruise ships. And so the park attendants, you need a sacrificial lamb. I think you had to have put somebody's head on the block for this to make Wall Street think that, look, we're making some changes. Don't bail on us yet. Don't sell all the stock. I think it's mostly theatrics with it. I don't know how much it's actually going to change. The problems are really the leadership and the directions that they're going with these things. They're so antithetical to mainstream America and probably in the world too, because we're seeing a lot of things happening elsewhere about objections in culture and so forth that were being pushed on us. And there's a big international market as well. So I think somebody just had to pay for the sins and to make it look like we're doing something.
I think so too. And Lauren, this is very quick after Josh D'Amaro takes over. I wonder if some of these decisions that came out of the Bob Iger era are not popular with Wall Street. I largely view Josh D'Amaro as being the choice of Wall Street. And I think the company's probably being led by Wall Street. I know that Josh is in charge, but I think Wall Street might be more in charge, if I can say that. And I think Wall Street has decided that the cruise guy who was doing well with his segment is going to be the guy to try to fix this stuff. But I think he's coming in sort of, if you think of it like a video game, I think they're halfway through development and they're going to need to make some strong changes. I think Epic is eating their lunch.
Yeah, I think that's true. One of the things, and this may play into your speculation that Wall Street is more in charge, but I'm also thinking that some of the moves that Josh has been making seem to me to be intended to differentiate him from the previous guy. I think that a lot of people thought Josh was maybe just going to be a quiet, make a transitional guy who was there to be a figurehead and not really do a whole lot. And yet there are some fairly serious moves that are happening. And whether those are dictated by him or not, it does differentiate him from Iger, which I think is a positive for him. It makes him look more decisive, and it makes him look like maybe the guy does have a vision of some kind.
Yeah, and Marv, one of the things that's been interesting to me is the perspective shift in Epic. Disney, for the first time, up until Epic, in years going into the development of it, Disney said, we were ready for this all along. We've been planning for this all along. And then when Epic came out, they said, we actually think this is going to improve attendance. Finally, Bob Iger's gone, and Disney came and said the thing we expected, but never thought they would say. Epic hurt us. They called it headwinds, but they said Epic hurt us. That was the essential message.
I thought that Josh was going to toe the Bob Iger line, at least for the first year, while Bob was still serving as a consultant. He isn't at the moment, but so we're going to find out, I guess, how much of the changes in the parks when he was the head of experiences were him versus how many of them were Bob. Now, we have an article about this up on that Park Place. And so, for the other guys, I included the cruise ships and Disneyland Paris and all this other stuff. For for our friend Jeff Valley, I included the Drained Rivers of America, the Boarded Up Muppet Vision. That is his legacy. Splash Mountain being Tiana's Bio Adventure, all of that is Jeff Valley, and that's all laid on him. So essentially, you're taking the guy from the one thing that Disney still does right in the experiences division, which is the cruise line, and you're inserting him into the most important role in the entirety of Disney experiences. Because that's the thing to remember also, that the Walt Disney World presidency is probably the biggest role you can have in experiences aside from being the head of Disney experiences.
And you think this is the right guy to take over for Disney World?
Well, so he facilitated I found this out while I was writing the article earlier today. He facilitated the Zootopia expansion in Shanghai Disney, and that is gorgeous. He also, is in charge of the cruise line, has opened up several ships, has put them in line to have their 13 ship fleet by 2031, I think it was. But man, I gotta say, I think that it's a step in the right direction, because the cruise line is the one area where they're still doing things correctly. Now, maybe they're not hiring correctly, as we saw in California, but as far as the operational stuff that they have going on, they're doing everything the right way with the cruise line. And it's to have the person that's in charge of that level of service that I got to experience on the cruise ships come into Walt Disney World, where the level of service has plummeted over the last 10 years, I think that actually could be a good thing.
I would not be surprised, too, if there's a delay in some of this stuff that's planned, especially Villains Land. I think all of this under the new leadership is going to be relooked at. Wiz, when we look at how this played out, Iger was shuffled out of the company, 9 months early? Something like that.
Right.
And now DeMauro is taking things in a very different direction, including, by the way, just to point this out, somebody that Bob Iger basically refused to call on in the earnings calls was the first person DeMauro called on. And that nobody's going to notice that except those who pay very close attention to this company. But for business insiders, that was a sign that we're not playing the way that Bob told us to anymore.
Right. And I think we're going to see more signs of that, maybe not right away, but I think in the years to come, maybe give it 2 years, because this company has been failing. Its stock price is down quite a bit. All of its franchises are falling apart. Universal is playing for keeps. Okay. And we know there's rumors and talks of expansion into other locations, of new Universals going up in other places of the world. That's a very big deal. That's a very big deal, because it will pull people away from going to Orlando, to pull people from going to Disney World. Because even think, hey, we're going to go to Epic Universe with the family vacation. Yeah, but maybe we'll do a day in Disney. All right, well, that's Disney's still making money then. But now you're going to have Universal competing in other places of the world. That's just something to think about as well. You're pulling people away from Orlando entirely. Disney's got to do something. Also, let's consider that even, they didn't prepare for Epic Universe at all, which is there's something to be said there. In fact, they went into total renovation, pulling things out, putting new things in. There's walls up all over the park. There's Star Wars is falling apart. There's no reason really to go to Hollywood Studios unless you're going to go on Rock and Roll Roller Coaster. Oh, wait a second. That's gone too. That's gone. Right. It's under renovation. So I really think within the next 2 years, you're going to see changes somewhere, perhaps the park level. Villains Land is not going to be enough. Villains Land is appealing to a demographic that is not there anymore. The demographic that is intended to appeal to is drying up for one reason or another. There's many. The first one off the top of my head is alcohol consumption is down across the entire United States. So that's a big problem. And then, of course, you have the people that are actually willing to pay for this, right? So your kidults, your Disney adults, the economics are not in not in Disney's favor that these people are going to be able to keep buying with the disposable income that they are today in 2 years. I think there's a very strong possibility that Disney has to do something because they're finally being put in a financial position where they have to. Yes,
I totally agree. And Steph, I think it's best for Disney to really reevaluate everything because I think the whole mood is shifted in Orlando. People just accept now that Epic is the best park. Like, it's really not a debate anymore, and Universal has completely changed the narrative. Disney needs to get back to the top spot, but they've got to make stuff, and it takes them forever to do so.
Disney used to be untouchable, right? That was the vacation spot that you would take your families to. They used to be untouchable. They were the theme park that you wanted to go to as a child and aimed to take your family to as an adult. They were untouchable. They could beat out everybody. And Universal has positioned themselves into such a place where they're actually competing with Disney. They saw the downfall of Disney and the fact that Disney sort of changed their brand and leaned into the Disney adults, leaned into catering to Disney adults instead of catering to families. They were like, you know what, we're going to change it. We're going to add drinking because they didn't used to be able to drink at Epcot. They didn't used to be able to have alcohol provided at the parks, but they saw that the demographic was changing. And so they offered more drinks. Well, now, as Wizard said, the alcohol consumption is at a decline. So what are they going to do? They've changed the way that they implement like park attractions to get millennials and Gen Zers to come to the park instead of aiming at their initial demographic, which was families. You go and you watch a Disney movie, you want to go to a Disney park, you want to meet these characters in person. And instead of seeing little children going up and seeing these characters, we're seeing adults meeting these characters in costume. And they sort of treat it as therapy, whereas Universal, they look at it as, you know what, we're going to take you guys into these movies. We're going to have the Mario Kart, the Super Mario section of the park. We're going to take you to the island of Berk and have, the How to Train Your Dragon section. You like movie monsters? We're going to have that section as well. Even like with Harry Potter. I mean, it's like walking onto the Harry Potter set. It's like you're engulfed into the world of Harry Potter. It's really the place to go if you want to, be surrounded and feel like you're in a movie. Whereas at the Disney parks, the novelty has gone downhill, especially since the meme of the Disney adult continues to grow. There's no respect there with all of those people who want to act as if they're 10 years old again, going to a Disney park and, LARPing as a child over there. And then you have, Disney leaning into all of their DEI policies and getting rid of the villains. I guess they're bringing them back. I don't know. But they got rid of some of the villains. You have the story about them getting rid of the evil queen because she got too popular. And I don't know. I think Disney has sort of made all of the wrong decisions. They got rid of the Tiana, or no. Which one's the
Splash
Tiana,
Mountain?
Right? Splash Mountain. They got rid of Splash Mountain because oh no, it's racist. So let's get rid of Splash Mountain and then replace it with Tiana, but not put her in her beautiful dress, and it's this weird story of Tiana. They've made all of the wrong decisions leaning into all the DEI policies, and Universal has kind of crept in under their noses and said, you know what, we're going to position ourselves to be better. We want to be the place that people go to. We want to be the place that you can take your family to. And I mean, they've pretty much nailed it. And I'm super upset that I wasn't able to go to Epic Universe when I was in Florida.
You were really trying to make it work.
I was so looking forward to it. I couldn't go because there were no tickets. That's how popular it is.
That's right. Well, it's turning out, folks, that getting rid of Zippity Doodah might have been the way they zipped on out the guy who helped make the decision. And it may have come from Bob, but those who followed along with what Bob said, facing an unhappy Tomorrow, and Tomorrowland is now changing rapidly at Disney. Folks, get ready because changes there are coming. Not because Disney wants to change, but because Epic just might be forcing them that way.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.